used to not interact with anybody when you were pooping. Now you interact with people all the time when you're pooping. When you're like having a shit and someone's like, yeah, you know, I think the Niners are weak this season. You're like, fuck you. Juwan Jennings is a legitimate threat at wide receiver too. And I know Ayuk's out, but that money's going to be well paid when he gets rehabbed. And then I poop and I go, I'm not that mad at that Juwan Jennings tweet.
Dude, I remember like 10 years ago, it might have been a little less, I was driving to a road gig, some poorly paid road gig, and I was pulling over on the side of the road. I was literally pulling over to finish a Facebook argument about some issue.
Yeah.
And at the time, because it was new, you're going like, this is great. I'm engaging with people and we're talking about issues. And because it was new.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing with like cigarettes or drugs, or even Zyn. Like, you know, in 10 years they're gonna be like, oh yeah, your face falls off.
There's gonna be 20% of the population walking around with no bottom mandibles.
Yeah.
Being like, hey. And you're like, he's got Zyn face, gotta be cool.
Yeah, but right now everyone's like, oh, it's just nicotine, it's just like caffeine, it's great for you.
Which is crazy because
And now I look back and I go, dude, I was pulling over on the side. Is there anything more pathetic than what I was doing to argue with one person I didn't know in comments nobody sees? What the fuck am I doing?
my grandmother passed away this year.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
How old?
97.
Which tells you in your family, if you don't drink, you got longevity.
Guess what, baby?
Yeah, there's one kryptonite in the Soder family.
I'm taking this to the deep waters. But we
wow, 97.
But about fucking 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, right? My grandmother was still cognitively like there. Everything was fine. We have conversations. This fucking guy tweeted about me in billions. And I started going back and forth with him on Twitter. And I'm having lunch. And I don't realize, because you don't know, this is one of the last meals I'm going to have with my grandmother while she's still sharp and physically there. She's 91, but she's still moving around great. And I'm like going to the bathroom, but instead of doing coke, I'm arguing with a guy on Twitter.
It's bad. Yeah, it's just bad.
And then Justin Silver texted me and he's like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. He goes, dude, what are you doing? And then I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? Yeah, I'm having lunch with my grandmother.
It's crazy.
And I deleted the tweets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I like had to check that was one of the first moments where I was like, this is nuts.
That's one of those instances where he says there's a supercomputer staring back at you. It's like, they've programmed us that way. And nobody's stronger than it. No. Nobody. I remember Rogan said it to me too. He goes, what are you reading comments for? He probably reads comments anyway. Yeah. But he goes, if anyone tells you that they're better than it, that it doesn't affect them, they're lying. And I was like, it just made me think like, oh yeah, we're all being fucked by this. We haven't evolved to be able to handle the weight of the world being thrown into our consciousness every day. You go on, you get all this news. Dude. It used to be like, you just know what's happening locally, and that was a lot. Now you're like, what's going on in Israel? What's going on in Ukraine? You're like, why the fuck should I care?
No wonder kids are lopping off.
Why is there a 12-year-old going, wait, before you come in this party, what's your position on Israel Palestine? It's like, dude, you're 12.
I couldn't handle boners when I was 12, let alone all this news.
When I was 12, I pushed 2 twin beds together and put Vicks Vapor Rub on my dick and fucked it.
Yeah, it is.
Because I thought maybe it was going to give me a little extra sum. It burned. It was a mistake, but the first couple pumps were nice.
You've been chasing that dragon ever since.
Yeah, and that's
that's why I love spicy pussy.
Dude, do you remember when we were like 12, 14 and we were like sniffing fingers and talking about, can you imagine being 12, 14 now and people going like, but wait a second, Putin, what's his real story? Is he the richest man in the world?
I used to take silk underwear, and while WCW's Monday Nitro was going on in the background.
One of your deep interests.
Not a passion. I would fuck this silk boxer until I nutted in it and then feel a wave of shame.
Yeah.
A tsunami of guilt. Yeah. And just sit there and be like, but then I didn't have to go in the other room and look at a device that I'm looking at all the time, and they're like, there's war everywhere. And be like, God damn.
Here's a murder video. Here's a cop shooting. You're going like, I remember when I was a kid, a teenager, Jesse was there. The biggest thing was like, are we meeting up? That was it. I was like, are we getting together?
Are there going to be girls there?
Are there going to be girls there?
Dude, the
Are we meeting
idea-
up? Are we smoking a blunt on a bench? Are there going to be girls there? Is there a Knick game on? That's all that there was. Are we going to the courts and playing ball? And that's all that was in my brain at all.
Do you wanna
I didn't know the mayor was.
Do you want to come over and play Mario Kart and smoke
That's
some
it.
resin before?
Yeah, that was
and you go,
it.
100%.
Yeah, that was
I'll be
it.
there. I'll be there. I got a fake ID.
Dude, and we were laughing.
I'll go buy booze. Let's just go sit in the park.
We were laughing because we were like talking to each other. Now it's like kids come and they're just like so isolated. It's very weird. Dude, we really sound like boomers.
Yeah.
But what we're right. Here's the thing is we're right.
We are right.